Hey guys, thank you for joining us on this Saturday night. I've got a special guest on. His name's Steve. He's going to tell you all about his channel after I stop speaking, obviously. And he's got some stories about the supernatural and other things. And Drina will be in shortly. She's away doing something right now, but she'll be here soon. So, Steve, introduce yourself and tell your subscribers. I'll give you the full screen.
Hi guys, my name's Steve. Been into the paranormal for 6 years. 2000, no, longer than that, actually. My dad died in 2011, and I wasn't really into the paranormal at that time. When my dad died, I was in the hospital when he died, and I said to my dad, while he was laying there dying, because he had Alzheimer's disease and dementia, and it's just me and my sister there overnight. And I kept saying to my dad how much I loved him, and if he wants to come and visit me, come and visit me. And I wasn't really into the paranormal. I believed a little bit of that about it, but I wasn't too, kind of like interested in it. But it's a few months later, when I was living in Collierwood in London, things started happening, and I believe it was my dad, because I actually got an EVP of my dad, the first ever EVP. My dad saying, "Stephen, love you, son." And that's what got me into the paranormal. And, I started watching a load of paranormal channels on how to get into it more in depth, what kind of equipment. And so I've been doing it around about since 2012. So, you're talking about 8 years now, coming up to 9 years. And I've had some pretty interesting things happen. Full-blown apparitions in the living room while I've been doing a live stream here in my bedroom, which was caught on DVR, because I run a DVR system, which has got 8 channels. That's it there. And where we was doing a lot of streaming over the last few years, did get a lot of good stuff happening. Not just here, but I've done investigations with people as well. Done some residential stuff, and had a lot of poltergeist stuff happen to me down at my mate Pete's house. We captured like voices, apparitions. I've been out, outside doing stuff, with my nephews. There's a place called Jordan's Wood in Kent, in Bexley in Kent. We did that twice during the night time, and both times we went down there, we caught apparitions live on camera kind of thing. I suppose you all know about Puckley Village, Puckley Woods.
Mm-hmm. I've heard about it.
Very interesting. The screaming down there, the first time we went down there, the only screaming we heard was females being screamed, because their boyfriends were chasing them. So that's the screaming. But the second time we went down there, which was more kind of like during the weekday and not the weekend, because we went down, the first time we went down there was the weekend, and that's because, a lot of people go to the pub, and that's probably why they was chasing their girlfriends around in the woodlands. But the second time we went down there, we went down there during the weekday, and I actually caught an apparition of it looked like a child, because it was the distance, but it's a female. It was definitely a female wearing a cloak, and it came from behind one tree, walked to another tree, went behind that tree, and that was it. So I do believe Puckley Village is haunted, or Puckley Woods.
I've heard about it. I have heard about it on the TV, about that village.
The thing with Puckley Village, though, it is supposed to be very haunted. You got your graveyard, you got your railway station, you got your pubs. Mm-hmm. There's an older factory down there that's supposed to be haunted, which is like, well, that factory now is just like a shell. It's just the walls. You've probably got some farms which are supposed to be haunted. There's supposed to be a rumour of a headless horseman that goes through the village once a year at a certain time of year, midnight, depending on the conditions of the weather. But I do think it is quite haunted down there, because why would I catch an apparition down there if it wasn't haunted? And I do have that on my YouTube channel. But I've had other stuff.
I would just like to say to everybody that's joining, please go to Steve's channel and subscribe to him. I will post the link to his channel shortly. On you go, Steve. I'm just going to send this to everybody.
I've had some really crazy stuff happen. In here, I've caught a full-blown apparition in my living room when I've been sitting in here live streaming, and that's on video. As I say, what it was, me and a friend of mine used to do these murder mysteries and unsolved cases, and we'd done like Sandra Bland, Elizabeth, was it Elizabeth Tate or whatever, the Black Dahlia? I can't remember what her name was now. Who is it? That Chinese girl, Alicia Lamb. We did Jack the Ripper, Jack the Stripper. We've done, quite a few different serial killers. We believe we might have spoke to one or two on the Ouija board, because I do Ouija boards. Definitely spoke to a lot of victims. But when we was actually doing a live stream one day, I was testing out a brand new Wi-Fi camera just as we started to stream, and my Wi-Fi camera went off, and the people I had on my, on my live stream and the hangout, I said, "Oh God, here we go now," And a friend of mine said, "Well, what's happened?" I said, "The new Wi-Fi camera's just gone offline," and it suddenly came back on, and as it came back on, this great appeared on the camera in my living room while I was here in my bedroom live streaming. The weirdest thing is, I tried playing it back on the camera, because I've got two cameras in the living room plus the Wi-Fi one, so I had 3 cameras running at the time, and not one of them caught it.
Your mics went funny, Steve, just what I would tell you.
Sorry?
Your mic has went really weird. You sound really different. You sound like something about The Exorcist.
So yeah, I had 3 cameras running at the time, and it's the Wi-Fi one went offline and came back on. And I tried going through back all 3 cameras while I was live streaming. Couldn't see it, but the weirdest thing was that my webcam was facing, the big screen TV, and the webcam was, connected to my YouTube, and YouTube was the one that actually caught it. And we played it back a couple of times, and people was like, Steve.
I mean, I've been watching your videos, Steve, right? And I have seen orbs in your living room next to all your dolls and stuff like that. But remember that night? What night was it? There was something fell over. It was a live stream you were doing, and it was in your living room. I can't remember what it was. I think it was a doll that fell off a chair, and there's no way it could have fell.
Well, in the living room, the first time I ever moved in here, I had that weird, strange feeling, like uneasy feeling, where I just didn't feel comfortable in the living room, and I still don't feel comfortable in the living room. And I've been here 6 years now, But where I've done paranormal stuff in the living room, I've had dolls fall down, I've had crucifix fall down, I've had a golf ball actually levitate and thrown at me while I was doing a Ouija board in the living room. Just like, the normal stuff, cold spots, whispers. I've got a big mirror in the living room where I take pictures of, and, we get like pictures of like spirit people through the ITC of the photo in the mirrors. I'm not saying my house is, haunted, but we've had some crazy activity in here. I'll say it's been kind of partial haunted time to time, but it's not where someone can turn around and say, "Oh, my house is definitely haunted." You come in, you're going to get something. No, it only happens when it happens. And I said this many times. I don't care how many people can go out there and say, "My house is haunted," or "That house is haunted." It's constantly haunted, 24/7, 365 days a week. No, because spirits need to take time out themselves and recoup the energy. They're not going to be haunted.
Because you adopted my ghost, didn't you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Your mics went awfully funny, by the way. There's something wrong with your mic. You sound really weird.
Just in case. I think I might be able to change it with the settings on the old one.
It's just you sound really creepy as it.
I don't know how to set it up. Having issues. Well, I might have to switch it to a different one. Oh, hang on, I know ways. Oh, crap. Oh, hang on. It's running. It should be running off my It should be running off my
He's just take a couple of minutes, guys. There we
go. Is that any better?
Oh, that's a lot better. You were starting to sound like something about The Exorcist, man.
Yeah, I'm on USB one now.
Hey Dobby, hey Craig, hey Drew, hey Jill.
Yeah, you know, I've had some kind of weird, crazy stuff here. One I'm going to tell you about, which Chris sent me down. Actually, Chris can tell you.
No.
Yeah, go on, tell them what you sent me down.
Right, my uncle died, and then my auntie, she taken no well, and she died, and the house was getting emptied, guys. Right, and me being me, I thought, oh, that's a nice clock in the corner. What he's doing with that? Oh, we're just going to throw it away. I'll take that clock. I'll have that. So I got it in the big key that you wind it up with. So we sat it in the living room, and this thing ticks away. It's like tick, 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 tick. I mean, it's really annoying, right? But anyway, strange things just started to happen, and it would be like you would see like black shadow people. I kid you not, walking about the house, and I came down the stairs one night about 3 o'clock in the morning. It would be 3 o'clock, may I add. And I'm sure I thought it was my father standing next to me. I went, oh, right, like that. But it was gone. I'm sure the clock was haunted. So I arranged with Steve and I sent it to Steve. And ever since then, nothing's happened in my house whatsoever. Quiet as a mouse. Nothing. So Steve adopted my ghost.
When Chris sent me that clock right here, some reason it stopped working. You know, so the day I got it, it wasn't working. Yeah, and you know, because I do Ouija boards as well and stuff like that. I'd done a little session offline before I'd done anything live online with the clock. Yeah. The day it turned up, I opened the box up, and the clock was not working at all. Not ticking, not one little bit.
I even
shook it, tried winding it up, nothing. So I left it for about half an hour on the bed. I turned around, I thought, you know what, let's have a look, you know, where this might have come from. Now, there is a code on the clock, like makers and stuff like that. Well, I actually done some research on it, and it was, I can't remember exactly where it was. It's over London somewhere, I think it was, where some clockmaker or clock repair person actually had it himself and probably sold it to Chris's grandfather. Well, the thing being is that as soon as I started doing the research, I don't know why, but I was talking out loud to myself like being an idiot, and all of a sudden the clock started working while I was doing the researching. And then, like, you know, I told Chris a bit later, a couple of days, a week later, but the only thing is I did find out that I picked up a name, Chrissy, and I also said, like, I think your grandfather may have had more than one clock or repair clocks as well.
He did. It had relation, had them, quite a lot of them.
Yeah. So, you know, I think that, you know, one of his relations might have been the person who lived over the London area or whatever, who might have been the person who had that clock, repaired it, and later sold it or gave it to one of Chris's family. It's kind of unusual because, like, you know, it worked for. The strangest thing, right? When I got it, it didn't work at all.
So I didn't wind it up.
As soon as I started researching, it started ticking, right? And it carried on working for 7 days, then stopped. And it hasn't worked again since.
I don't know. Again, it's not it's hard to hear, man.
When he sent it to me, all activity in his house stopped.
Aye.
The only activity I got from it was when it started ticking. And I was picking up, certain information through, doing a Ouija board. So, kind of weird.
It was weird. I mean, my uncle had obviously got it from my grandfather, right? But I think you're right. You're 100% right. It was made in England, but it wasn't just one clock sitting. When they were emptying the house, there was multiple clocks, and I was drawn to that one. I just picked it up, took it.
I think what they usually say is that certain things are meant to go to certain people. And if that certain person who receives that gift keeps it, then that's a good thing. But you don't know what thing you're going to get, which is haunted. There could be one of a million things out there that's haunted. I do have a lot of dolls. I believe a lot of my dolls have kind of like spiritual attachments.
Well, look at Annabelle.
Like haunted.
Is it Annabelle? The famous one. Annabelle in America.
Yeah. That's locked up in a cage.
It was the Wardens, wasn't it? The Wardens, they were the ones that investigated it.
They still got it. I think
the son has.
Who is it? The one on Ghost Adventures. Pat Baggins, I think he tried buying it from them.
I refused. He offered that. It's the Warden's son that keeps it, and he's basically Baggins offered them. Did you ken Baggins offered them nearly $1 million for it? And he went, "No, I don't. I'm not selling this. I'm not selling this. It's too dangerous."
So I've got one doll. Well, a couple of dolls actually, but there's one particular doll, which one of our friends had, Simon James, who I'd done a couple of investigations with. When he came down to visit me, he had one doll. One particular doll in his home, and we was doing a live stream, and he was doing like a spiritual conjuring by using kind of like not so much dark magic, but bringing up certain spells. Well, as he was doing it, he's got this doll's house, and there's some dolls on top of it. And as he was doing the spell, the dolls actually moved. That's the head facing that way. And the head just went really slowly and turned about a quarter way around and stopped. Now, I actually got that doll eventually, and I've got it in my living room. But I've not really had much from it, kind of thing. But I can say, well, yeah, I do have a genuine haunting doll, because you can see it actually on the live stream. And lucky enough, I was able to get that video down, because Simon's stopped doing the paranormal now, because he's married and he's got a young child, and he don't want anything.
No,
affecting the kids.
No.
So, I was able to get his doll, a couple of dolls, and a few other bits and pieces he sent down, which he didn't want anymore. Some crystals.
See, Andrina, which will be on shortly, she just messaged me. She was telling me that I taken her to a kind of haunted area near my village, and she picked up a stone, and she took it home with her, and I think something followed her. And I don't think it's a good spirit. I think it's something else. She'll tell you when she comes in tonight.
There was a story of it was a TV program where there's a certain place in America which is very, very haunted, and it's a place where people go and regularly visit, but they've always been warned not to take nothing from there.
Yes.
Be warned. And the tourists have been there. You get the people who kind of like follow the rules and obey, not to take anything. But people who have actually taken things without consent have actually had stuff happen to them.
Why?
Some have had like near-death experiences. Some people have had family dying in their places. Some of them have gone bankrupt. Some of them have had fires. And every person that found an item had to send it back and apologise.
Aye.
It didn't really help them, to get their life back together.
No.
It's their own fault for taking things in the first place anyway. You just don't know what kind of thing that you do pick up could be possibly haunted. I never knew Jordan's Wood was haunted. And like both times we've been there, we caught apparitions there. But I never bought anything back because it's, just a woodland, kind of thing. What if I bought a branch back?
Mm-hmm.
That could be haunted.
It's like when I go to the graveyard to see my family, right? I like to keep the place tidy.
No,
right?
I do.
And there's been some times I've found stuff and I'm like, oh, that's nice, that's a nice shiny thing, that. And then I thought to myself, no, I'll leave it where I found it. You know what I'm saying? It's a graveyard. You don't know what's hanging about,
never disrespect the graveyard.
No.
When I first started getting into the paranormal, I was doing a lot of graveyard stuff. Going down there, doing videos, EVPs, photos, and stuff like that. And for me, the graveyard is somewhere you're supposed to go, and pay respect. And
Aye.
the way I respected the spirits, if they were going to communicate with me, I always left a crucifix on random headstones. I took about 20, 30 little crosses with me, and I'd just put them on random headstones and say, thank you for communicating with me. Please don't harm me. You must stay here when I leave. This is just a token of respect, love, and friendship. And, that is on adult ones. My kids used to have a load of toys, which they've thrown away. So I kept the toys, and I used to take toys down and leave on kids' headstones. The cemetery, the one...
I've noticed that in graveyards, quite a lot of toys lying about.
The graveyard one, right? There's one particular one. When I first started, I went down on my bike, and I had a crazy EVP when I went home and listened to it back. There's a child's voice saying, I like your bike. So I thought, bloody hell, that's strong. That is like a disembodied kind of voice, It's so clear. I had to go back down now. And I went to the same location where I got the EVP, and I'd done another EVP recording, and I asked, because it was a child's voice. I said, whoever the child was, if you're around still, can you tell me your name and when you are? So, I just left it recording for a little while. After, I got home, played it back, and I got the same child's voice telling me his name, and it said, behind you, 3 down. So I went back down there another time, went to the same location again where I had the same 2 EVPs, saying like your bike, and where he gave me his name. And he gave me, and said, like, the second one's like directions, said behind you, 3 down. So I kind of looked down, walked down about 3 headstones, and there was the boy's graveyard with the name on it. And I was, whoa, crazy, man. And I always left toys with him, on his headstone.
I walk through, there's an old graveyard near me, and the church goes back to like 1126. I mean, that's how old it is. But there's a lot of gravestones, and there's no writing on them. The only thing that's on them is skull and crossbones.
Oh my God.
You ever seen that? The skull and crossbones?
No, I haven't. I know with headstones.
I'll send you some pictures one day.
With headstones, yeah. When they get weather worn, you can't really read them because the writing's been worn away. Some people would use a normal flashlight to see if they can read them. But don't use a flashlight, use a UV light. When you're down there at night time, use a UV light on a worn headstone, and you'll be able to read it.
I wouldn't have walked through the graveyard at night.
I did it once one day. I say I wouldn't go to a cemetery on my own because it is a bit dangerous. You might trip over and knock yourself out, or you might get attacked by some kind of evil demonic, spirit or something like that. But there is one over Church Road in Mitcham I've been to a couple of times because it is open. It's got a walkway you can walk through. It's only probably about 150 headstones there. I've walked through there. That's the only cemetery which I feel comfortable walking through at night time.
No.
But all the other cemeteries, when it gets dark early at 4 or 5 o'clock in the evening, and they don't shut till 6 o'clock sometimes, I won't be in them. Because the one round near me, I actually got locked in there one day. It got dark, right? And normally someone's supposed to ride around to see if anyone
to make sure,
in the cemetery. But it looked like no one did it. And it was getting dark, and I went back to the gate, the main gate to come out, and it was all locked up. So I thought, how the hell am I going to get out? So luckily, there is a building, like a main building, they had a phone number. So I rang the phone number, and I said, look, I'm locked in. What can I do? So I said, well, to your left, there should be another building. Go in there, and there should be someone in there. Just call out his name, and he'll probably hear you. Just keep walking around shouting out his name, because he's definitely in there. So I went into this other building. I shouted out, this guy's name. And it took about 5-6 minutes before he heard me, and he comes out and goes, "What's up, mate?" I said, "I'm locked in." I rang up the office number, and they told me to come in and ask you to let me out. He goes, "Oh, yeah, sure." He goes, "How long you been calling out for me for?" I said, about 5 minutes. "Oh, no wonder. I was in the back cremating the bodies." I thought, oh my God. So and I weren't too far from where he was actually cremating all the bodies, kind of thing. Because some of the cemeteries do create them, there.
Aye, the big ones in the cities, in London and stuff like that. Aye. It's. You ever actually been in the crematorium? I've been in one.
No.
It's very interesting.
No, my dad was cremated. When he got cremated, we didn't leave him in the cemetery. My daughter, my sister, I should say, had an idea about splitting up the ashes between me, my sisters, and my stepmom. So we all got, like a quarter of the ashes. And what I'd done with some of the ashes, where I used to live, my dad used to love sitting out in the garden, where we had barbecues and everything. So what I'd done is I spreaded a few ashes out in the garden, and I kept the rest. And they're in the living room in an air cup.
I helped sprinkle my grandmother's ashes and grandfather's ashes. We done it in the hills round about our village, somewhere we like to go.
I think that's the way I want to go, actually.
Aye, that's the way I'm going.
I do not want to be buried, stuck in a coffin and suddenly waking up and, being buried alive. That was, and I don't want insects eating my body, kind of thing. When it's my time, I'll probably donate myself, to science. If they want to take, a few limbs or, kidney, heart, if it's any good, then fair enough. But I want to be cremated.
But then again, Steve, do you want to wake up inside the crematorium?
Well, there's been rumours that's happened before, but there's one story which I don't believe, because the person had died, and they, when you die, you go for that embalming situation, don't you?
Aye.
Yeah.
So in a theory,
this person had been, had the embalming done to him, and suddenly woke up. Well, how can he wake up when he's been embalmed?
Because they take all your blood out, you.
It's just
embalming. You ken how they embalm people, didn't you? They drain all your blood, and then they fill your veins with that chemical embalming fluid.
Yeah.
So for somebody to say they lived through that, no, it'd be impossible.
There is a story over in Africa where someone got bombed and got put in the ground, and people saw that same person walking around, the cemetery for several days. They said it was voodoo kind of stuff,
Nah.
So, voodoo, if someone's put a spell on someone, no. I don't really believe in that kind of stuff, actually, to be honest with you.
I've seen it, I've watched it, and I don't really believe that kind of hanging can bring, to be a zombie and that. I do believe there's drugs that can make you like that. Basically, walk about as if you're like a zombie, but they're no like the living dead. I think that's just ridiculous, See,
with your video the other day, right, your stream the other day, like when you had that guy talking about, you know, aliens and stuff like that. I was sitting there listening, and I thought, oh fuck, man, if I could have got on there, you know, I know he was busy with him and other people, but you know, he's talking about, you know, parallel universes and like, you know, invisible aliens. Well, sometimes I've always thought, how do we know if we are actually talking to ghosts? And is it an alien,
us,
you know, kind of form? And it's like
intelligent,
and it's, you know, it's got that invisibility, so you can't actually see it. How do you know we ain't got aliens living in their homes right now? And when you're thinking about someone, they could be actually reading your brainwaves and like, you know. How do we know they ain't got some fucking great big massive database of every single person who's lived on the planet for the last 20,000 years or something and got all the information? So when we ask about someone, you know, they might come through and say, well, yeah, you know, you're a father, done this and done that.
Aye. Have you ever seen the Black-Eyed Kids? The videos on them, radio shows on them. I've always wondered, what are the Black-Eyed Kids?
Yeah.
What are they? Are they aliens?
They're supposed to be aliens, yeah, they're supposed to be aliens, but they've also said that they possibly might be spiritual people, demonic spirit people.
Demons. Have you ever had this demon? Have you ever had a demon in your house?
No, but I have been told by Abby, my spirit guide, that you know, I will confront demons and I will defeat demons, but there will be a time when a demon will defeat me and I will probably nearly die, but you know, it won't be for a long time. They even told me I was going to write a book. Well, I did start writing a book actually. I got through 8 pages and stopped.
You should. Why not? Right,
it's going to be like a biography, you know, on how I got into it. You know, I still got the 8 pages, which I started like, you know, 4 years ago. But you know, every time when you write in a book or something, you're writing it down, and the thing is, you suddenly remember something before that you've written down, so you've got to go back through the pages and edit it and put that in. So it's like, you know, and when you've done that, you think, right, so I've just missed that bit out, put that back in there. So then you're thinking, and then like you continue doing what you're doing, and as you're going along, because you know your brain doesn't function 100% all the time. You know, everyone forgets things, don't they? And I've always like forgotten things. You know, the weirdest thing with me is that sometimes I can't remember what I've done, you know, throughout the whole of my lifetime, you know, kind of thing. But now all of a sudden I can't remember what I've done yesterday or a few days, you know, before last week. But suddenly all the stuff that I've done like 20 years ago starts flooding back, you know, kind of thing. It's really weird.
I think Andrina's about to come in. I'll get her to give you a tarot card reading, Steve. She's very good. Andrina's just got to be coming in shortly. I'll see if I can get her to give you a tarot card reading.
Yeah, you know, I've actually done that myself. You know, I've got tarot cards up there. I've done a couple. I'm not, you know, brilliant at them. You know, I've always kind of like had a little dabble, and there was a few that I've done on people. You know, just like a test run kind of thing. And I'll be honest with you, the ones I have done have been near enough dead on correct. You know, I've done about 5 or 6 tarot card readings for people, yeah. And every time I've done one, you know, I can't pronounce some words on the card, you know, kind of thing sometimes. So I kind of like cut that word to like phrase it in a different way, kind of thing. Or if I don't know what the meaning is, I say, you know, I don't know what the meaning of that word is. But other people might do, you know, and they can explain on the side chat. But out of 5, 6 tarot card readings I've done for people, every person has told me 95% of the information I've given them is correct.
Well, that was the same with Andrina. She gave me one, and 95% of it came true. So
maybe
it's an interesting thing.
Maybe she can do one.
I'll ask her as soon as she comes in. We'll ask her, and we'll see if we can tell you your future. I just want the lottery numbers. Oh dear. So, Steve, how's your house now? Is it active, quite active this weather, or is it just quiet?
As I said, like, well, while we was offline, something happened last year, and I had to get the police involved, which I can't go through, with the information.
I know, I'm talking about the spirits. The spirits.
It kind of like
main...
it put me off doing the paranormal, and I feel like I've kind of neglected and not spoken to the spirits, and the spirits know what's going on, and they think, well, maybe he needs time, or maybe we need more time. They need to get ready to communicate when I'm ready, or I could be ready and they're not ready. You got to build up the energy. You need the energy, and sometimes I just don't feel like I've got the energy to do it. It's like with any hobby, you need energy, and if you ain't got the energy, what's the point of doing it? So like I've been trying to do like some other stuff, like bushcrafting, building like temporary shelter, and on a private farm which I've got permission for. So I've been doing that. I've actually got a trial cam over there now, one of those animal trial cams, and I've been leaving that over there. And when I bought it back last week, somebody actually set it off during the night time. It was only a 10-second video clip, but where it's facing my shelter, which is all made out of wood and mud and leaves and branches and stuff like that, it looks like there's someone standing looking at the side of my shelter, and it looks to me like a female in a cloak. And I uploaded it, and a few people said, yeah, that's what we see, a female in a cloak.
No.
So, I'm still trying to do a little bit of paranormal. I sometimes might put my DVR camera on. You'll see all flying around,
I've seen yours. You done a live stream the other week there, and it was you were sleeping.
Yeah.
Well, I watched some of that, and I seen a wee orb float across you.
I put the DVR on, sometimes, when I go to sleep, so people can see if there's anything going on. It's kind of weird that every time I do go to sleep, I still speak to the spirit, say, right, I'm going to go to sleep now, spirit, good night. Love you all, keep it safe. Make sure no harm comes to me while I'm sleeping. No noise, please. I'm laying now. I'm just about to kind of doze off, and you can hear that little creak or that little thud, or little knock or something. The other night when I was in bed, I said it all, to them, and I was just about dozing off, and I could feel as if someone actually sat on the side of my bed. I thought, but I told you, don't wake me up. I'm trying to get to sleep. Thank you very much. I still talk to them as if they're human. If they're still alive sometimes.
I mean, my co-host that sometimes comes on the Inner Truth, he was talking about it last night, but something touched him. And in the bed.
I think the weirdest thing, apart from the bed, going down and the cold spots and stuff like that. I was sleeping one night, and it was early in the morning. It felt like someone actually kissed me on the cheek, and I kind of like that, and then it happened again, and you could feel the coldness, of the lips. It was like if someone actually kissed me on the cheek. I couldn't, I thought someone was in here, but what the hell on here? And then they usually say, you got like, you got those other kind of demons, the sexual ones, succubus and the other one, incubus.
That's right.
Now,
What's the incubus there? There's the incubus and the succubus. There's one of them. What one's the male? Is that the succubus?
I think the succubus is male and the incubus is female. I'm not sure. I can't remember.
But and it holds you in your bed. You ever had the old hag syndrome?
The hag.
You know what? The old hag. You wake up through the night, you can't move, and when you look, all you see is an old woman looking at you on top of you.
No, when my dad died, that's what got me into the paranormal, because it was probably about 2 months after he had died. Me and Mrs. once, like talking to each other, was in separate rooms. My son didn't like his room, so he slept in the middle upstairs room, in the bunk bed, and I stayed in his room. And I was sleeping one night, and I heard like some kind of noise, which disturbed me, and I kind of woke up. You know, I was still half asleep, but you know, my eyes were kind of like, you know, what the hell's going on? And I was just about able to focus, and the actual bedroom door opened by itself. I thought, what the hell? What the hell? You know, and I thought it's my daughter and my son, you know. So I called out, 711 land, you know, awake. No one was awake, you know. The wife was downstairs in the room sleeping. I checked all the house, nothing. So I thought, you know, maybe I didn't shut the door properly. 2 nights later, I was up there, and I woke up in that frozen, solid state. I could not move. You know, I could not move. You know, it felt like pressure on my chest. I couldn't speak. You know, I was pinned down. It's that kind of thing, you know. And the only way I could, you know, try to stop this was saying, please stop, you know, in my mind, you know, saying it to myself, please stop, please stop, please stop. And it stopped on the 3rd time. And that's what got me into the panel. I thought, you know, I've got to find out what's causing this. I believe that might have been Dad. You know, I mean, Dad's been around quite a lot, you know, over the last 6-7 years. But he's moved on to my daughter. You know, she's had my grandson, and I think he's over there looking after, you know, his grandson because he never got to see him.
Yes, and Gina, the guest will connect their mic before the ad. Just need to connect your mic, and Gina can't come in until you've done that. I've got one of these, what do you call it, condenser mics. Is that what you're using, Steve? One of these?
I'm using one of these horrible things.
Aye, well, mine's kind of similar.
Yeah, it's one nice microphones. It's got different features on it as well, different tones, and bloody awkward.
And Gina, if you're watching this, that's it. She's getting it there, the ladder, and that's it. Oh, there we go. She'll be up shortly. And get you the first tarot card.
Right, I'll be quiet for a bit now.
And she keep talking the news. She's setting up stuff. The news. She's fiddling.
Hear me, Chris.
You'll need to turn your camera on.
Aye.
There we go. Right, and Gina, this is and Gina, this is Steve. Steve, this is Gina. There you go.
Hi, Steve.
Hello, Gina.
Yeah, well, a bit dark here. These are seeing my curtains. Guys, it's totally different from where I had it set up in my own camera.
Did you find your boy?
Is this where I need to come into it? No, it's not, is it?
This
confuses me. He was just at the front, but he was fighting as usual. Bloody boys.
Wee boys, that's what they did.
Like, where the hoof? It's getting on with this bloody camera. I need to take this right, I think. It's totally different from what I had it set up as. Wait the hoof. Right, sit that way. Chill. Don't move. I think I'm on. There, that's me. Hello. Finally. I'm here to turn this up because it's got to go. Alright, right. Hi everybody. I need to look at my phone every now and again to see your chat, right?
I was saying, I was telling Steve how you like to do tarot card readings in Gina.
I don't mind doing it.
If you're doing one tonight, could you give Steve the first one?
I like doing them.
Tell him his future.
Of course. I was having a wee listen to you as well while he was out chasing Liam a bit.
Yeah, I've got.
And I heard you talk about the clock. Have you got tarot cards too? What ones have you got? The Rider Waite.
Sorry?
I need to come here.
She's asking.
Is it the Rider Waite you've got? The normal ones?
There we go, that's a better view, isn't it?
Typically everybody's... Oh, that's better. Typically everybody's got the Rider Waite, I think.
You've got multiple different kinds of, got the...
I've got Oracle cards too. Yeah, that's better. You can see me a bit better.
You know,
I've got the Oracle cards in the. Sorry.
Yeah, I have got tarot cards. I've done a couple, you know, kind of with a few people online. It's been like 95%, you know, kind of accurate. But there's stuff I've not tried them ones out yet.
Oh, they're good. I've seen the ones about. I think that lends you the tarot, doesn't it?
I also bought one of these, and I've not even used this yet. I thought this was some kind of tarot card, but it isn't. It's like some kind of weird cyber cards and stuff.
Oh, is it an oracle card? Maybe Oracle Truth Finder. They look interesting.
No, I bought these off Amazon. I've got other tarot cards up there somewhere, which I did use, but they're up there somewhere.
They definitely look interesting. Probably oracle cards more than tarot.
Yeah, what they are, cards like this kind of thing.
Oracle cards, where it usually typically says a message. Right. Oracle cards.
Nice. They're nice, them, aren't they?
They're nice, aren't they? I
like them.
I've not even tried
they're nice.
Never tried. You get a book.
You should try them.
You get a book with it, right?
All right.
And you also get
a book as well. I like getting the books.
And you also got a CD with it.
Oh, cool.
I think it's only about 15,
that's probably,
you know. So I thought
that's probably the people that don't like reading. Excellent. They look quite interesting, actually.
Oh, and you also get like some kind of little metal
protection thing.
That.
Cool. They give you the pendulum with it.
Yeah.
That's quite good, though. That's actually quite a bargain.
Because a lot of people pick their card with a pendulum. A lot of people spread right out and then let the pendulum pick.
It's kind of a little bit like a Ouija board in one way, isn't it?
You got the card picker.
It's also partly
the
kind
pendulum
of
like picker, sorry.
Pendulum board. So
right,
I've got a wooden.
Worth a go.
No, I've just got too much stuff up here. I've got that 6 Ouija boards up on the wardrobe.
Right. You look a bit for next time.
I've got to sell it because it's really like, you know, been causing me problems. You know, believes it's 100%, you know, haunted. So I bought it off him.
I want a haunted object.
Nothing off it whatsoever.
Oh, typical, isn't it? Look, all these haunted dolls on eBay, you don't know what worth it because typically.
Well, I've got quite a few. I've still got
probably none of them are.
I've still got about 150 dolls in my living room.
Right, I have on your channels, your dolls. Do you know, I've been in a couple of your lives with a couple of other people. Just pop in and.
Well, when I used to do lives, that's the hangouts, weren't it?
What's your name again, Steve? What's your paranormal name?
It's Haunted Experiences now, but it used to be Southwest Ghosts or Steve's Haunted Flat.
Haunted Experiences.
Well, it's all
well, that's the one I've seen, I think. Is the one. Was that a while ago, wasn't it? Was that last year? Maybe the year before?
Probably a couple of years ago when I was getting good stuff. Just that last year.
I think that's when I watched a couple of your lives.
I was getting a lot of hassle on like cyberbullying shit, you know, on YouTube.
Right, I've seen that as well. Right. I did notice that. Steve, I'll show you. I think I said to Chris about it, didn't I?
Let me channel down, actually.
So you've been doing investigations, Steve? Are you still been...
I ain't done none for about a year, but I will get out and do some more stuff, hopefully.
Right. Have you still got your own team? You're still part of a team?
You know, my nephew Aaron, he's kind of like fell out of it. You know, he says he's bored of it now. You know,
right.
But my other nephew, Warren and Simon, said that they still do something. When I go down to Kent, you know, I've asked me
good
nephew if he can take me to Jordanswood again and to the old Bexley Hospital and do some sessions down there again.
Good. I think maybe they've just lost their passion. Maybe go to a different place and they'll find it again. What are you saying, Chris?
I was going to say, you wanted to do a tarot card reading just for a couple of people?
Aye, not a problem.
Gundy, is Steve is my guest tonight. Could you please give him the first tarot card reading?
I will.
There you go, my friend.
Sure.
Just talk to the people in the chat.
One, no problem. I can't see chat. I'll get my phone up. Wait a minute, I'll get to see chat. I'll read it. Right here. There is always more than one side to an argument, two if not more, to every story. Hundreds of ways to write, to be different, to be up, and so on. Today we suggest that instead of differences, you find a meeting place of agreement. This experience with understanding, ground to understand another person, think an alternative plan be laid. Stay out of judgment, observe, but accept that others have different stories, experience, journeys, and some people refuse to remember another's point. No matter what, you've been presented with a great opportunity to explore a new way of doing things. Once common ground is reached, you're attracting people and situations that enrich your life and bring you wonderful things to live. We love you so much. I would just let do it somebody else's way. I think you got to change. Come. Yes. Please say hi. Hi everybody. We'll be talk.
Wait, break up a wee bit there, Gina.
Well, I think that's mainly kind of right. You know, I've got to disagree with someone. We might agree with like sorting it out. Other people coming to me under different things I'm doing, bushcrafting. I'm getting more viewers on there than my another channel.
Right. There you go. Sometimes it's maybe just a case of doing it different. My phone slipped, my tablet slipped. People, sorry.
Technical problems.
Look, it's ridiculous, this tablet. It's not got a very good...
You get yourself a laptop. A laptop's what you want. I'm using a Windows 7 laptop. I'm going to buy a new one soon.
Don't worry, that has definitely got to be in the cards. And I don't want to block somebody. This is just about block, and I'm sorry, whoever it is. Cancel. I'll need to take this off my phone because it's going to be charged. Sorry, people. Technicalities. Anybody else?
Oh,
I don't.
breaking up there, Gina.
I know. I know. It's these earphones. You're
Gina.
Can you hear me better?
You're breaking up. Awful.
Phones.
Yeah, you're breaking up.
Right.
Somebody will be playing the Xbox.
I'll go find the other. I like too many things. I'll go find the earphones.
So, Steve.
Yeah.
What's next? Are you not going to go ghost hunting at all? What happened with that place up in front of you? Mind you said there was a house in front of you that was getting knocked down.
Yeah, that got knocked down a couple of years ago. Because you remember when I went there, you know, I did find out that someone was, you know, kind of like living there. And I did, you know, the doors were always open at the back. And one thing I always wanted was a rocking chair, and there was a rocking chair in there, so I grabbed that and bought it. But they did eventually knock both the houses down, and they were both haunted. And there's just like a little residential blocks of flats there now.
But it makes you wonder, doesn't it? I mean, even if you knock a haunted house down, the ghost can still stay.
Well, I did do a little bit of research. So I've got my subscription to what is it called? Some website which gives you details about, you know, the land, you know, what used to be here in the past. And all this used to be, like, you know, open fields and stuff like that. But the cemetery used to be bigger than it was, and it kind of came up nearer to where I am. But eventually, over time, they kind of like sold it off, you know, to private individuals and stuff like that.
Aye.
But yeah, those houses did have a very bad kind of like reputation. There was like drugs, there was prostitution, there was murders in there. They were the two highest houses in the area with crime rate. And those both nice little flat. I think they're both like bungalows. But it's a shame that they knocked them down.
Well, the bungalows that's there now could be haunted for all you know. You know what I mean? I've seen that. I've seen houses. The ghosts will stay.
What I wanted from there, I saw the contractors there one day, you know, knocking the house down, and I asked for one of the big kind of like
unprofessional.
There were some like lanterns outside, so I asked the guy if I could have them, and he said, "Yeah, I'll put them to one side." So a couple of days later, I went to ask them, and they said the guy you asked ain't here anymore. It's a different like manager.
Right, guys, sorry, let me know if you can hear me better, Chris. Is that better?
Actually, he sounds a lot better now. He sounds
so I asked the manager.
I do leave. Sorry, Steve. I do Liam's earphones on, and they're all cut silly at the side, so I think he's cut cable. Sorry, people. When you go,
Steve, tell us the rest of that.
So I asked the manager, you know, about the lanterns, which was outside, you know, because the other guy was going to keep them for me, and he said, "No, I think they've probably been like smashed up and thrown on the fire now." So as I was like demolishing it, they had one of those. There's a really nice big stained glass window. So I said, "Well, can I have that? You know, I'll give you something for it." And he goes, "You're all right then." So they had to like take their time to get the stained glass window out, you know, so they wouldn't cause too much damage, because there was damage to it anyway. I got like, I say about 80% of the stained glass window, and I gave them some money for it. You know, I said, "Well, you know, here's some money, get yourself some coffees and sandwiches." And I've got that, but that started falling apart. But I still got the actual round part of it, you know, kind of thing, which is in pretty good condition. Plus, I've got the rocking chair from there as well.
Spirits, man, spirits. I get rid of all my spirits. I sent them to you.
I heard about the clock.
Aye, the clock. That was
a haunted clock.
If I ever find another haunted object, I'll need to send it to you.
Why is Lewis up on my screen in my living room? It's not on. Oh, you've got the different video as well.
What's this? The inner truth, much clearer. Craig Williams, get the spirit box out, guys. Craig's want the spirit box.
The spirit box, Craig. I might do the necrophonic. No, well, get that remote controller and I'll help you.
I've finished my slush puppy now. I've ran out.
Hey, Chris.
Oh, slush puppies are brilliant, aren't they? The cherry.
Oh, it's Big Fuck!
Is that the haunted clock?
That is right.
The spirits can jump that, you know, straight back into your house. Come to me, spirits. It's alright, I promise you.
Let's see if it starts ticking.
Lewis wants a card for his wife, Andrina.
Ex-owner is here. Start ticking.
Alright, no bother, Lewis.
Oh, God.
What's your wife's name?
What's your wife's name again, Lewis? Type it up. That clock. God, the clock of despair.
It's the clock. No, not the clock, please.
No, it's not coming back.
I'll send it back to you tomorrow.
Wait, I'm just waiting to see Lewis' name.
I'll send it to one. I'll send it back to you.
Yeah, I've still got the brick from the German World War II camp, but I don't know.
That one's jumping right at me. This is definitely
over there somewhere.
A rigid tree branch breaks under straw. Sorry, Chris, you were still talking. That's rude of me.
No. You go. You're telling this for Lewis's wife, aren't you? On you go.
Aye, sorry. A rigid tree branch breaks under strong wind, yet flexible seaweed survives powerful ocean swells. Right now, we gently remind you that being flexible is a good choice when faced with life challenges. Surrender your fixed ideas to Spirit, who knows what is in your highest good and can deliver to you what you need in this appropriate forum. In this moment, rather than fighting or being too sure of your way working out, be a little looser and allow for another outcome. Compromise can be the best way forward if you are to learn new ways of doing and seeing. Stay aware, curious, and teachable. Take life as life on life's terms. Your purpose may push you in a direction not on your map yet. Let it be so flexible that no storm can uproot you. In big words, in this end, you will still be rooted in the world, in abundance, and you will indeed experience the beauty that is yours. Basically, that's something like what Lewis got last week, when it was like sometimes you need to sit back and date somebody else's wife. So maybe the two of them need to compromise with each other. You hear that, guys? Amanda and Lewis. You have to compromise with each other.
I'm looking at that clock sitting there.
Are we kind of flexible?
I know it's distracting. Sorry, what you saying, Steve, pal?
I had to be flexible for what I'm doing because I'm not doing so much paranormal. You know, I've decided to do this bushcrafting where I've built my own little shelter where I can go and have it's my little kind of like little domain kind of thing. And you know,
do you not think it helps spirit communication if you set up an altar and things, Steve? Or are you just really learning about it?
I've got an altar behind me, which I use sometimes, but it's a bit of a mess at the moment.
Right, mine gets messy all the time. See, because of the incense and the
what's on there?
Ash and
joy pads and chisels and God knows what else.
Oh well, hey. I bet you always get something to do because you've got chisels and that on your altar. That means you've always got work. You know what I mean? It's a good way.
I'm still working on my kind of like little shelter, my little cabin I'm building at the moment. I've got to do the back wall.
That looks good.
Yeah, that'd be good.
But
I've always said once the veins get grab up, I want my dining room.
That's why I've had to compromise on what I want to do because I'm not doing so much paranormal. I don't want to be sitting indoors every single day, 24/7, including with the lockdown. I had to get out because of the stress and depression, anxiety, and I used to do a lot of meditating on private land, and I just said to the guy one day, "Can I build my own shelter?" And he said, "Yeah, knock yourself out." So I've been building a little kind of like mini cabin kind of thing, and it's going to be my little domain. It's kind of something so I can go out and relax and get the country air in my body, and it's just going to be my own little domain kind of thing.
You need somewhere like that, don't you?
That's what I've been doing. There's a bit near me, a wooded area, and I go up there and do bushcraft, and it's very relaxing. Listen to the birds.
It is relaxing. I actually want to stay over the night one night.
Oh, did you say bushcraft? I thought you said witchcraft.
No, bushcraft.
Bushcraft is in doing. It's like going out camping in one way, but you actually building shelter out of the.
Oh right, I get you. Right.
Logs and whatever's laying around.
I thought you said witchcraft.
No, not witchcraft.
There's Jill asking if she can have a card, Andrina.
Of course, Jill. Yep. Anybody wants one, just let us know.
What our future's going to be like, that's all really. What's going to happen in the future. If I'm going to get back into the paranormal 100% or...
I think you should. I think you should. Because you've got all this stuff.
I think I would rather need to do a tarot card for that than an oracle card. Or I could actually do a witch's oracle. That'll tell you straight up where you're heading. I'll do a witch's oracle for you. That's a day job.
So, I love the paranormal. I still want to be doing it. But I just don't feel I have the energy or the love for it at the moment.
You're maybe just needing to go somewhere totally different outside your comfort zone, like maybe take an overnight somewhere or something. Give yourself the spook somewhere you know is really haunted, so you get right back into it. Find your passion for it again,
Yeah, me's getting my nephews to come out with me though, because I can't be going somewhere on my own because it can be dangerous, you know, doing like
yes,
something on your own kind of thing.
especially if you get out the old buildings.
So if you get something demonic or something negative attaching you.
Well, I took it for granted that nothing ever was going to do anything like that, and I've kind of learnt my lesson with that one. I've only turned the spirit box on now without asking for protection. Remember,
look
because of the wee girl for one. Exactly, and that, I'm still trying to get that wee girl to go away. Not that I want her to go away because she's only
I don't think
girl,
it's a wee girl.
I really think she needs to go home. No, I think it's a wee girl with attachment. Definitely a wee girl here, but whether it's that wee girl for Glenn Buck or that, I don't know. But there's definitely something Glenn Buck Foley does. Right, you ready?
Right,
this is for Jill. Let us ask you, are you looking for happiness outside of your everyday, moment-to-moment experience, thinking you will find happiness out there someday? Some may go chasing a magic out there, but it never could be found. So we want to share a secret that shouldn't be a secret. You are pretty joy. You are pure joy. What made you is pure joy, and every time you wake up and even when you sleep, you have joy waiting to be expressed inside you. Joy and happiness. Wait till Willie stops coughing. Honestly, he's just got a smoker's cough, guys. Joy and happiness and fullness come from doing joy, being joy, knowing it, cultivating it, and lighting it in your heart so you can share it. You must know that this, so when the time comes, you will be fully free, and your joyful being and actions will turn you into a beacon of starlight. Look within and be joyful, even for tears and loss, for they mean you have lived, really lived. Jump into all and love every minute. There you go. So, basically, if anything happens, you'll just ride over it and realise that it's just life.
Sorry, people.
Well, spoke about the tail.
Guys, remember, if you're new here, could you please go to the link that I put up for Southwest Ghosts? Give them a wee subscribe, help them out.
Well,
just remember, I can't see the chat. My phone's just died now.
Is it?
I don't know. It's not playing funny Bob with that telly while it's put off again. Just leave it. Because it's not going to let me do it. For some reason, my telly will not let me play your channel. It's just keeping jumping back to the news. Well, I can't watch it. Anybody else want a postcard for Spirit?
The only time I'm really happy is when I go out, you know, kind of thing.
You can give me one if you want.
What are you saying, Steve? I'll do you one, Chris.
I said the only time I feel happy when I wake up is when I go out and spend time at my bushcraft camp, you know, kind of thing. Because I know
that's maybe just what you have to do at the moment, then.
Sorry?
Just don't rush back into anything, Steve. Just if that's what's making you happy at the moment, then just stick to that now, and then through time you'll maybe find another wee passion for the paranormal. It's maybe just the way it has to be at this moment.
What I'm doing with the paranormal at the moment, I've got like one of those wildlife cams, and I've stuck that up there.
Right.
And that'll only go off when something triggers the motion, because it's got like a motion sensor.
And I bet you end up seeing something up there, and that'll treat your interest again.
Second time I went up there,
what did you see?
I brought it home and checked it, and there's a 10-second video clip, and you can see like, and this is at 9:20 in the evening, and no one goes over there. You know, the landowner is gone by about 5, and it looks like some female standing, looking in the little window on my shelter, wearing a cloak, but it's stationary. It's not moving. It's just like stationary.
Right. If it just appears and then disappears, type of thing. Brilliant. You'll need to put that up then.
What happened is that camera just like turned on, and you can see a figure just.
Is it a trail camera?
Yeah, it's like
a trail camera that just movement triggers it.
Yeah, triggers like motion. Right. So something actually set it off, and then a couple of days later, it set off around about. Well, the first one was like 9:20 in the evening, and a couple of days later, something set it off again, around about 9:20 in the morning, and there wasn't nothing there to see. So like something's actually triggering it. I know there are, you know, the landowner who's gave me permission to metal detect and do my bushcrafting on his land does have horses, ponies, but it's not picking up any of the ponies. So it's picking up something that's not being seen.
It's got to be something that's quick enough that when it triggers it, you can't see it as well. Do you know what I mean? Because I dare say it's quick as that. You know? I would definitely keep at it because you never know.
I did upload the little video clip of the, I believe it is like some spiritual, female in a cloak. And where I've uploaded it, on my channel, a few people said, yeah, I see that, Steve, I see that. So if it is, I
need to have a read, was it?
With other people see it as a complete different thing. Some people say, I don't see nothing. Some people say, well,
look at that. People, there's all the things that you see on Facebook. Can you see this and can you see that? So it shows you that other people have got a different vision. But there's that picture that can you see an elephant or is it a giraffe or something? Some people see an elephant, some people see a giraffe. It's just the different eyes. I'm a bit dark and I've got the two lights on too. I don't know why I'm so dark. Facing the other direction tonight. Let me know if anybody else wants a card, and if no, I'll get one, and I'll get my witchy cards out, and I'll do Steve a card of the witchy oracle. See if we can figure out where he is in his paranormal. Does anybody else want a postcard for spirit? You wanted one, Chris, didn't you? Is that you I just did there, wasn't it? I just did your card, Chris, did I? Or was that? No, I think that was for Jill. I'll do you one.
That was for Jill.
Right. What? Right, give it now.
Was this for spirit, this one?
I've got the middle. Yeah, it's a postcard for spirit.
It'll come back saying, take the cloak back. It's staying with Steve forever.
It's Steve. Oh, there that one just jumped out when you said that too. Never mind that. Right,
who was that German? Who was that German who stayed up at that prisoner war camp?
Hess. Robert Hess.
Robert Hess.
Is it
Robert Hess to be attached to it and come up to you and like speak to it a little bit.
Can you imagine having wanted to be a Nazi?
Oh no, don't say that. My mum's terrified of him because she was one of the ones in the war. Right, okay. As you think, so will you experience life. Thoughts are that powerful, and yet my reading lips are not on tonight. Thoughts are that powerful, and they need minding. Let the unruly, chaotic ones settle down so they serve you or get released instead of wreaking havoc. These thoughts arise when connected to the energy of fear and often masquerade as truth. Yet the real truth in that essentially all is well. Of course, you have thoughts that are positive, strong, organized, accepting, creative, open, and so on. Those are the ones we want you to keep thinking, and they have a less frantic quality. They're stimulating in a good way and don't get away from you. How do you keep an inner eye on your thoughts? Meditate and leave judgment out of the mix. Everyone has those fearful thoughts. Love them, love yourself, and then choose the thought you want the world to reflect back. Life is not as hard as you think. Basically, just power through and know what you want.
Was that for me? Because you got some things right there. I have a fear about.
I think sometimes.
I have fear about.
Sometimes when you read these cases, people relate to them, so it could be for you, Steve, if you need to hear it.
If that was for me, then yeah, like I have fear being outside in the dark on my own. For one,
right.
And two, you know, I am in the process of doing other things. You know, I'm trying. I kind of find it hard to meditate. I can't meditate properly. But I have tried meditation,
neither can I.
like noise and stuff like that, you know.
I love it.
So, you know, talk about meditation and that, you know, you're hitting it on the button now and being fearful.
Right.
You You know, because I said on my stream a few times before, you know, my fear is being out in the dark on my own. But now I'm building this bushcraft, I want to be out in the dark on my own so I can try and confront that fear.
So that you can conquer it.
Yeah.
And you need to remember, spirits know your fears, so if anything's going to happen, it's going to be that fear, isn't it? You've got to be left in the dark somewhere if you don't conquer it. The spirits seem to pick on your vulnerabilities.
God, we've got spirits all around about us. It makes
What were
you
you
wonder how
saying,
many
Chris?
are
You've
around.
started meditating. Did I hear you right?
Aye.
Did I hear you right?
I use my
managing it all
noise
right?
cancelling Sennheisers. Aye, it's pretty good. Aye. I put them on, you can't hear nothing. Noise cancelling headphones.
But you're fertile boat, you know what?
That's great. Very relaxing.
I think it's very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I can meditate. I can only meditate with my eyes open and the pitch black. Can't do it with my eyes shut.
There's Helen Nelly Brown.
Helen said, do her.
Card? Do her, okay.
Helen said, do her.
Nelly Nelly. Nelly.
Well, I'll be quiet.
Right, this is the one we'll do then. See what it says about. You're taking the top one because I just can't feel that one. Even though life seems now to be moving full steam ahead, it's a time to rest. Allow ideas to flow through you and take root in your heart before they reach your mind. Honour this process by becoming empty to allow for inspiration and the magic of dreaming. You might feel lazy or unproductive, but we know better. Just as sleep is a way to recharge before renewal, so are you in a time for dreaming. In this powerful process of co-creation, your soul merges with spirit in a profound way, so you can receive your music directly from source and play your part in the symphony of life. You are being invited to bear witness to the great creation and tune into what others can hear. We have so many dreams to share with you in this sacred and the invisible, Don't worry, we will wake you when it's time to return with a new dream. No need to set an alarm clock. Loving you always. There you go, Nelly. You've just got a new dreams, missus. Yeah, you go, girl. Yep. I can't see the chat, guys, just to remind you.
See, Steve's got a cat.
Oh, there you go, Nelly. Oh, it looks like Salem too, Nelly, look. Looks Salem. Is that what up again? My God, oh, it's an advert on that other channel. Give me that. Oh, no. No. I don't know why it keeps flicking to that other channel. It's not as if it's getting moved. I don't know. Right, I'll set that remote control there and we'll see if it gets pressed again. Somebody keeps flicking the channels on Willie.
Well, that'd be annoying.
But it's playing up night again, guys.
Oh, God. I'd be getting the old sage out.
Well, I actually just saged yesterday, but I usually sage before I do this, but everybody's been calm in here.
Oh, I can see the tap of the tail.
Oh, get your tenant suit, Chris!
He's got his tenant suit. No, the spirits tonight, it's tenants again. Did anybody else want a card?
Anybody in the chat want a card, guys? Oh, I just picked somebody for the chat.
I picked somebody at random.
I tell you what, let's go for Glenn. We'll go for him.
Oh, Glenn. Hey, Glenn, I'll do a card call.
That's a picture of him there.
Aye, I know. Arnold Schwarzenegger. I remember doing one for Glenn. Well, he's got a care taste, so I'll do Glenn first, right? I remember that the last time he's Arnold. Oh, do I know what one I have to take? Right, even though life seems now to be moving full steam ahead, it's a time to reset. Allow ideas to flow through you and take root in your heart before they reach your mind. Honour the process by becoming empty to allow the impressions and the magic of dreaming. That's the same as Van Nelly, is it not? You might feel lazy or unproductive, but we know better. Just as sleep is a way to recharge before renewal, So are you in a time of dreaming. For this powerful process of co-creation, your soul merges with spirit in a profound way so you can receive your music directly from source and play your part in the symphony of life. You are being invited to bear witness to the great creation and tune into what others can hear. We have so many dreams to share with you in the sacred and the invisible. Don't worry, we will wake you when it's time to return with a new dream. No need to set an alarm clock. It's just like we said earlier, sometimes people need the same message.
Mm-hmm.
There you go, Craig. It was for Craig, it was for Glenn. There you go, Glenn. Hope you didn't need that to hear that, pal.
I'm about to ask you a question, right? I'll ask Steve first, right? What's the most creepiest thing that has ever happened to you, Steve?
Several. I think the worst one, as I said on a couple of my videos before, is when I first got to know Pete Paranormal Man. He asked me to come down, do some residential stuff in his own house. Well, the first night that I was there, after we'd done our session, yeah, we got some crazy stuff going on, like EVPs and orb activity and, like movements and things moving about. Well, I was actually staying in his house that night, and I was sleeping in the living room. Now, usually, I can't, for me to get sleep quicker, I always put a blanket over my head. For some reason, I get sleep quicker that way. When I've got a blanket over my head, I'm just about going to sleep, and all of a sudden, this object from the sideboard, which was across to me, came flying across and hit me on the leg. Now, I didn't know what it was. I had to turn the light on, and it is an Elvis Presley tin can, one of Peter's
the king
collectibles, yeah. So I called out, told him what had happened. He goes, "Oh, don't worry, it's just a spirit probably telling you that they're there, don't worry, it won't happen again. Just lay down, go to sleep." So, me thinking, well, just it might have been just kind of like balancing. It could have been vibration or something that could have knocked it down. So I laid there.
But it wouldn't have landed on you, sure. It would have fell to the floor, would it not?
Well, I'm laying there.
Probably just letting you
just about going to go to sleep. And would you believe the same tin can and 3-4 other items came flying off the shelf? They actually flew off the shelf because it was captured on Pete's CCTV.
Well, there you go. It's definitely trying to get your attention.
That's real pure poltergeist activity. And, I kind of just freaked out, called out Pete, told him to get me a taxi or take me home. He said, "No, just go upstairs."
I'm out of here. Elvis is trying to contact me.
I ended up sleeping in his
Elvis was in the building, what was he?
I ended up sleeping in his son's bedroom on the floor that night because I wouldn't go back down into the living room.
You're lucky it didn't follow you up into the same room.
Sorry?
You're lucky it didn't follow you up into the same room. The next room you were sleeping in.
Well, no, I wouldn't go back down there. So I said, "Look, right."
So
he goes, "Well, go up to my son and sleep on the floor if you don't want to go back down in the living room." Because I knew if I go back in that living room, it would continue. Well, a few weeks later,
see, I was right back down there.
A few weeks later, I got back invited back down there. We done some EVPs. And I asked who was actually the one who threw the tin can and the other objects at me. And we got a name, Edna. And Edna and Arthur were married couples.
Good.
And I was able to cross them over eventually. Right. But yeah, the poltergeist activity was the more creepy one. But the second one is the black apparition, which I said about earlier, in my living room. That was creepy. That scared the EPDBs out of me.
You think it's just wanting to you to let you know that it's there?
Probably. Well, that's what they do. They do what they do to let you know that they are there. Not so much to harm you. Now, if you're going to communicate with something and you're asking them to do something, it might take them 5 minutes, might take them half an hour, could take an hour before they can actually build up the energy to do something, that they're there. But, you know.
I don't think a lot of folk realise that it's not as easy as just turning on a spirit box or an EVP recorder. You have to build up to it.
You should show Steve that new toy that you bought. It's quite impressive.
What one?
The big radio.
What one?
The one that you waited
Big
for about 6
Oh,
months
the
on.
Cultus box. Oh, the
You went
Cultus
and bought a Cultus box, Steve.
Oh, what, Quotas box?
Aye,
A Cultus box,
aye. Mark Cultus makes them.
Oh,
yeah,
I know.
Mine's is 103.
Yeah, I know Mark Colt's quite.
Yeah, I've got his app. Mark's quite good, isn't he?
I know he makes.
Very tell. I've got to meet him in October.
Steve,
I'll meet him in October when I go to Haunted Finders.
Him and Steve Cooper had the same idea, and they both make the same kind of ghost boxes. And I actually have 2 of Steve Cooper boxes, but I think they. Is
that the one that lights up?
Idea.
Oh, I think maybe they did. Right, I think I've seen kind of some tension between the two on the Facebook post.
So, Andrina, what's the spookiest thing that's ever happened to you?
It's all really good outside. When I was away, when somebody used to run up and down the stairs, that was spooky. When you were away and you knew the doors were locked. And it used to always be a certain day in September, and we would never believe it. Then it would always come around. My mum would lock the doors, and then we'd all sit and wait, and I sure as on it would happen. Just hear somebody slamming the front door, and somebody running upstairs, and the spirit box saying my son's name. That's quite spooky. But that was scary as a rain because there was nothing there. And then one time my big cousin had to see how the CB radio in the 70s, 80s was illegal.
At the castle.
All right, I wait a minute. Now, when the CB radio was illegal in the 70s, well, my big cousin had one. He would always bring it round to my mum's bit and he would sit in the kitchen and use it. And sure as though someone banged on the door. Remember they were illegal.
I used to have a CB radio in my early years. I used to believe my handle used to be Blue Thunder.
See, we stay right next to the motorway.
I used to love watching that program.
So the boys used to have a CB radio to talk to the lorry drivers.
Right. But the rubber duck.
So you take that as your handle.
Blue Thunder.
I can't mind. What was their volumes again? Can't even remember. Buckets, son, I think it was.
19
Nell, can you remember what their volume handle was?
Had it in his Land Rover.
I used to have my CB tied to my push bike with a car battery running it on the back. I used to ride over to the motorway with a great big car battery on the back of my bike, CB radio, antenna. I used to be on the footbridge and I'd be used to be going, for a coffee and the truckers out there. It used to be right laugh.
Because we stay next to the motorway, that's what all the teenagers used to do here. And then we've got the truck stop down the bottom of the road, so they used to do things like that.
Yeah, I was
actually. They don't use
CBs anymore, don't they know?
Early in the year, I was actually thinking of getting another one myself, actually, but, I was thinking about getting the AM FM one, but the AM always used to interfere with people's TVs.
Right. Especially on the radio waves these days that'll interfere with it. You'll probably end up reprogramming somebody's television with or something. Yeah. So, because of the technology it's about these days. So that was creepy because we thought it was a policeman they were banging on the door. You remember that, Nelly? Helen's my big sister. So she'll remember a lot of this that I'm talking about. And we thought it was a police.
The time I had a CB radio,
away and there was just nobody there.
When I had a radio, Chris, I also had a pirate radio station I used to run when I was working at an industrial estate. And one day I was actually running the pirate radio station and a police car pulled up outside the gate. So I thought, I quickly turned off here and I went out to see what they wanted. And they said, we're just doing a routine patrol. So I said, well, do you want to come in for a coffee? So I said, yeah, all right then. So they came in and they saw the antenna. And I thought, crap, they're going to think it's me, They know it's going to be me. So they said, what's that CB radio antenna? I said, yeah, I've got CB in there. He goes, do you talk to many people? I said, yeah. Well, we was just tuned to some radio station and it was heading down this way and suddenly it stops. So I had to get rid of it. They tracked the bloody CD radio out to near my location.
Oh,
Not
no.
the TV, the radio, pirate radio
I've
station.
always just seen it. His big brother had 4 of them took off when he was younger. Was he a teenager? They got 4 took off. Four pirate radio stations.
I think busted 4 times.
4 times. God, I guess he played all that rave music, didn't he?
See, the pirate radio station I got done really cheap because I knew the guy who built them, and I had to go up to London to put this great big antenna, pirate antenna, up on this great big block of flats, and I have vertigo.
Or
I am not going up the top of there. He goes, no, just come up to the roof, and I'll climb the rest of it, and all you got to do is pass the antenna up. He goes, if you want the pirate radio station, you've got to help me out to move him out. But it used to be fun.
You ever seen the ham radio?
That's good, listening to the police and that through it.
Yeah, the ham radio
was
green, but there's so
you need
much
a license for that.
code and everything you got to learn.
Aye.
Papa Whiskey Romeo 1904. Are you there? This is Papa Whiskey Romeo 77547. Calling Papa Whiskey Romeo 1977. Are you there? All this codes and I wouldn't have been able to do that.
I had the scanner. I used to have a scanner.
I've got a scanner somewhere.
But was it bucket mouth if you were talking rubbish, wasn't it? Where you go your bucket mouth and things like that?
10 for a copy, then it was 19 a copy, 1 for a copy.
19 for a copy.
Oh, it used to be good getting a hot 194 a copy.
That's how I met. That's how I was able to cut my girlfriends on the old CB radio. I wasn't much with girlfriends, but some of the girlfriends I had were from the old radio station, CB.
Oh, we used to love it. As teenagers.
Anyone wants an eyeball, it's over at Dartford.
I used to get a few birds on it too before I met Andrina.
Oh, many moons ago, many moons ago, son. Well, it's been off again. Some of them are definitely pressing the buttons.
10-4.
10-4.
10-4 copy.
I like the scanners. You can pick up the airline pilots and you hear them talking.
Right.
Yeah,
but you can get an app for your phone.
I have got a scanner, but I don't really use it. Did you know, Chris, someone actually used the scanner and was able to communicate spirits through it, apparently?
Really?
Yeah. Right?
It's just like another radio, isn't it?
Aye.
If they can hack it, like the scan. And that's what I was doing. Like, they hacked it somehow, and it was
a be a way you could do that, definitely. Because it's all to do with the white noise, isn't it? So it's definitely got to connect to spirit.
I just wonder.
Yeah, I'll tell you a true story, right? Yeah, which I read on the internet. Yeah, this is supposed to be really, really true. This guy, right, owned a ham radio. I think he was out somewhere in Canada, yeah, and he used to keep talking to people through this ham radio. And one day, he stopped talking, and no one knew exactly where his location was. So, this guy suddenly came off air for months. Then all of a sudden, right, it started coming back, but he sounded slightly different to the way he used to speak on the ham radio. Now, what they done, right, one guy was able to get like a tracker to track the signal because they, reported it to the police saying that this guy, stopped using the CB radio, the ham radio. And like everyone was like worried about him, the family didn't know where he was and everything like that. Yeah. So the police are all like, if he ever does come back, let us know, and we're trying to track his signal. Well, all of a sudden, the signal comes back, and he keeps asking, for a conversation, like 19 for a copy or whatever it was on the ham radio, where they're using his phonetic codes. Well, anyway, after a few days, they was able to track the actual signal from his ham radio, yeah. The police went over. They had to get like a helicopter to fly over because it's in the middle of nowhere in Canada. So they get there, they land, they walk up to his cabin, knocks on the door, No one's answering. So they had to like make a false entry. Now they swear that this guy was actually using the ham radio over the last couple of days, right?
Right.
Police gets in, the guy's laying there dead. Rigor mortis. He's been laying there dead for about 4 or 5 days.
Oh, it's
So
his spirit that's been using.
they reckon that it's his spirit that was activating the hand
Right.
radio, trying to communicate, trying to get help. And that's supposed to be a true story, man.
I definitely believe that. For sure.
It's
Still
supposed to be a true
wanting,
story.
he's wanting his body to be found, isn't he?
I've heard of that. I've heard stories about that. And it's called. You get ones that called. Is it phone calls from the dead? You know what I'm talking about?
With the people's mobile phones and things ringing.
People will phone you up and say,
Yeah.
and you'll talk to them, and you'll have a conversation with them, and then you'll find out like, a week before that they died, and but how could that possibly be? They phoned me.
Well, this will make you laugh, right? When I first moved in, I told you about, having a creepy feeling about my living room. I spoke to Jonathan Garfield on Facebook, and he said he'd come down and do like a little investigation and do a house cleaning for me, yeah? So I told him, yeah, fine. So he set a time of day, which was going to be on a Saturday. I actually contacted him on Friday just to make sure he's going to come down. He goes, Steve, I'm glad you called me because I was going to not say anything until tomorrow, but I had a communication chat with your spirit today. He knows I'm coming down. I said, where did he contact you? He goes, he rang me from your phone.
Oh, there you go.
I said, how can you ring my phone? Like, what, my landline or my mobile? He goes, I don't know what one it was, but he rang me from your home. He said, I'm ringing from Steve's home. I know you're coming tomorrow. I don't want you getting rid of me. I won't harm Steve. Just leave me alone. Give me peace, light space, and he'd be okay. But, Jonathan came down and he still be able to, he actually picked up the spirit's name, which was Martin, but he also picked up my dad's being here as well, and a female. But yeah, he reckons that a spirit contacted him, rang him from one of my phones. And I think I actually had that on video as proof when he came down. So I do believe that they can communicate with you either way. Through mobile phone.
They want to communicate with you, fun away.
Well, I'll give you a scenario. My father used to be in the Merchant Navy. He used to go around the world, India, Pakistan, Africa, everywhere you can imagine, right? And this has gone back to the early 70s, right? In the days they didn't have mobile phones. If you were in the ship in the middle of the Atlantic, the only way somebody could contact you was phoning the captain, because the captains had special radios, right? Yep. Anyway, 2 o'clock in the morning, he's an engineer, he works in the engine room. He goes to his bed. All of a sudden, he sees a white light in his room, and this guy walks towards him, and it was his grandpa, right? It was his grandfather, and he says, son, listen, I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to leave now, and I love you, right? But anyway, falls back asleep. Anyway, goes down to the engine room the next morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, and the captain says, listen, could you come up? And the captain wants to talk to you. And I was alright, so he went up there and he says, listen, there's a phone call there for you, for your mother. Because she'd phoned the offices of the shipping company so they could get to talk. And he says, now bear this in mind, his grandpa visited them in the night at 2 o'clock in the morning, right? He says, I'm sorry to tell you, but at 11 o'clock last night, your grandfather passed away.
Oh, why you tell me that?
Yeah, I've heard stories like that.
I mean, aye.
Definitely.
They were in the middle of the Pacific. They were in the middle of the Pacific.
I've heard stories where people said that they've had phone calls from a loved one, like saying, oh, I'll come to say goodbye to you. And they say, well, what do you mean? They say, well, you'll know tomorrow. And then they get another phone call from one of their friends or family or thank you.
Aye.
They're saying, oh, last night, so-and-so died. Well, hang on a minute. How could he have died at that time when he rang me?
Aye.
Aye, definitely. A lot of folks say that, and I believe it. Definitely. The spirit's strong.
I think we're talking more kind of like more intelligent. It's more like intelligent spirits, you know. Like some people say that their spirit leaves their soul before they die,
Uh-huh.
and some say no, they don't. They leave their body when they die. So there's a kind of like.
I actually think it just depends on each individual person. To be honest with you,
sometimes you might get someone to know that they're going to die and ring up say, you know, I just called to say I love you, and you might not see me no more, and then later you get to hear that they have died. But how can you actually get a phone call saying I love you, I'm going to miss you, I won't see you no more, and the phone goes dead, and then one of your other family members ring you up and say, well, that person died, at a certain time, which is probably about 2, 3, 4, 5 hours ago. Before then, they actually received the phone call.
I definitely believe they could. If they could talk through a spirit box and a recorder and things, it can definitely talk through a mobile phone, especially when it's not just radio waves.
Unless it's an alien
conspiracy. I don't know what to use, I believe. Unless it's somebody after.
It makes you wonder if there's spirits all around about us all the time. There must be.
Oh, for sure there is. Mm-hmm.
There must be. I'm in here myself, but there could be all around about me. It's amazing, isn't it? Steve probably got the ghost of that cloak standing next to him now.
Talk to it and see if it talks to you, Chris.
The clock's gone back in the living room, Chris. In case it starts ticking again. Tick.
Me back.
I did have a loud tick in it. I must
the other night I was doing a little stream, the other night, seriously, no lie, I was doing a little stream the other night. I got a clock behind me, one of those like little kind of gold, what's the name clocks? I'll show you what one I've got. And it doesn't work, because I've not put a new battery in. One of these.
All right, coach clock. I think that's
all right.
It needs a new battery in.
Everybody gets the same when they leave their work, don't they?
I ain't got no batteries. That battery's been flat for probably about 4 or 5 months. I've just not been able to get the battery or forgot that battery yet. Now I was doing a stream the other night, and I've got no other clocks in here. And I was saying to the people when who was watching, I said, you know what, I can hear ticking. And I said, oh, what I've got is that clock, and it doesn't work. So where's the ticking coming from?
Mm-hmm.
No, I've got a clock in the kitchen, and I've got your clock and another clock in the living room. I would be able to hear them ticking, but in here the other night, I could hear a clock ticking. I just completely thought, well, that's bloody weird.
Strange things.
It's definitely that. Probably an orb flying through it. Your cloak's haunted too.
Well, my motor's haunted, isn't it? See the amount of orbs in my
definitely.
motor?
Mm-hmm. Especially when you set up that wee bit with the Chris Nell show. Maybe it's the spirits letting you go back up there and do the Chris Nell show again. There must be missed.
I'll do the Chris Nell show once the stupid coronavirus is finished with. You can't do that.
It shouldn't be much longer. I can't wait to get back out.
I wonder how long it'll be. I wonder how long it'll be before we go back to normal.
I know.
Do any of you two know?
I think it's up to each individual person.
What's that,
Does any of you two or anyone on the side chat know someone called Aggie or Agatha?
No.
Because I'm getting like those senses back. Although I've not done much for the paranormal, but last year I used to keep picking up names.
I know an Aggie.
Aggie, yeah.
I know an Aggie.
Is she?
I know an Aggie. But no, the spirit world. Not, but it could be a message for her. No, she's alive.
She's getting Aggie.
It could be a message for her. Aggie.
It's more like Aggie, but she likes to be called Aggie. And I'm just picking up Aggie. It's definitely past. Late age.
I don't know that it's an unusual name, Aggie, innit?
It's more like a Scottish name, isn't it? I think Agatha. Aggie. Don't know.
I know an Aggie, but they're definitely alive. But it could be a message for them.
Could be.
Maybe.
In a roundabout way. Spirit knows more than we know. They know who's got to communicate with who. They know everything in advance. So you never know. Or it could be somebody you're going to meet.
I just wonder if it might be someone that's quite chat because I'm just getting the name Aggie. Say Aggie. Like Abby's telling me say Aggie.
Aggie.
There's an Aggie around.
Any of you guys recognise the name?
There's somebody in the chat says, Glenn says Maggie. No, it's no Maggie, it's Aggie.
Aggie. A-G-G-E.
Aggie.
It's like Agatha, but she don't like to be called Agatha.
Right.
And she's like, you know, well over the 60 age. Between 60 and 80. So I feel like that kind of like things coming back to me. I used to pick up a lot of that a couple of years ago because of like what happened last year. I kind of like blocked everything out. I'm now feel it's coming back to me, you know, slowly, gradually.
That's what I feel. I feel as if like it's the more a ghost hunt, the more that I'm starting to connect with the actual thing and the actual things running about me. It's like you just get a vision in your head and you just know that it's that person.
Helen,
do you know what I mean? It's just crazy. It's crazy. You just know in your own head that that's what it is.
Helen Brown said, Aggie Murray dead.
Oh, yeah.
There's your sister saying something. There's Aggie Murray dead.
Oh, Aggie Murray. I thought she was. That's right, Nelly.
How old?
Yeah, she would have been after 50s, 60s when she died, for sure.
I'm saying that between 60 and 80, she's an elderly woman.
She would have been, Steve.
Maybe because you're on and she's probably telling me to, like, you know, say Aggie, you know, it could be Aggie, you know, I don't know, I'm just like picking up the name.
Right. There you go, it could possibly be.
I think she.
Got a message. Try to tell Stevie a message, Aggie.
She was probably around about.
Stevie know.
She wasn't tall. She was more, you know, 5'6", 5'7". She had kind of like.
She wasn't big.
Yeah.
Even her daughters are dead wee.
Probably like she wasn't fat either. You know, she was like a little bit plumpish. You know, she liked eating. You know, when she could afford to eat. And she's got kind of like greyish white hair. Possibly. She
possibly could have when she died. I hadn't seen her for years. Maybe Nelly knows better. I wasn't here for years at the same time. Nelly knows better. Did you know Aggie personally, Nelly?
She's just saying say hello.
She might just pop in to say hello.
Say hello.
There you go. Could I just... I definitely believe that. Aggie, if you're about trying to let Steve know what you want to tell us, try and connect with Steve.
Yeah, she's saying something about gin. She likes gin.
We all like gin.
Well, put it this way, I used to go to the Lisbon Club when they were all younger and drink. So maybe that was one of her choices to drink. Plus,
give me a gin.
The girl club's due opening back up again after lockdown, so it's maybe just her spirit hanging about.
Abby's brought her over and she's saying, "Wait, where's my gin?"
Well,
there's somebody saying something there. Wait, there's somebody saying, "I'll bring it up on the screen."
Well, I can't offer a spirit to a spirit, can I? I don't have gin here.
Someone I knew a little died a few years ago back in the town.
Well, there you go. His name was Aggie. His nickname was Aggie. Could possibly be him then, Green.
This is definitely a female. It's not a male, it's a female.
Not a guy, right. You know, it possibly could be that woman, Steve, because this Maggie Club is due opening up. And one of the up here, it was his funeral yesterday, so it could just be spirit all connecting coming into Lisbon Hague just to pay the respects.
Helen just
because
said...
they were a well-known family, and I dare say they knew each other.
Helen said, yep.
Well, there you go.
She liked her gin then. And she didn't have just like,
well, there you go then.
She had like fucking great big cups of gin. She probably went through a
Possible.
couple of gin each day, or every couple of days.
Her spirit's maybe just been hanging about Liz Mahagey because of yesterday, and she's just popping them into different people she knows to say hello.
It's amazing how
Or she
spirits they can
travels
travel
where
the
she's
great
gone.
distances, isn't it?
What I think happens.
Well, I've been told that they can just think of a place and they're there. Like they could. Sorry, Steve.
What I think happens, in the spirit world, they try to communicate with someone who is into the paranormal, who believes in this kind of stuff, And like, with Abby, she's always getting communications from different kind of spirits, young, old, male, female, children. And maybe like somehow, this Aggie's found the way to communicate with my spirit guide, Abby, and Abby's just come through and said, hey, mention Aggie, bit of help.
There you go. That's
quite a few times over the last few years where I picked up names and people said, yeah, I know someone by that name. But the thing is, I don't give out surnames. I might get a surname, but the surname could be slightly wrong or, spelled completely different. I'd rather just the first name.
That's the best way, and just see if anybody connects to it. But I could believe that because spirit works in mysterious ways. You just don't know. That's the thing. That's why it's done.
Well, I was going to end the live stream now because that's us nearly at 2
My
hours.
son's shouting on me right now anyway. Liam is hungry. It's feeding time. He's been in and out.
Guys, in the chat, I'm going to end the live stream, guys. Thank you for coming.
And I'll definitely turn the spirit box on next week, people, right?
Thanks for letting me on,
Thanks for coming, everybody.
Thanks for
nice to speak to you.